Hello, welcome to stage 2 of the Tour de Romandie Féminin, the second edition of this race and the high mountain showdown that we have here in Switzerland. 110.8 kilometers the riders have ahead of them today from Romandie to Tourgon 2000, where we had a stage finish a year ago. This year's race, 386.87 kilometers, 5,810 meters of elevation gain throughout the 3 days. Today's stage, 2,201 meters of climbing, 1,754 meters of descending. It is a tough day ahead in the 110.8 kilometers that they will tackle. We have an early sprint at NA before we head into the mountains and the Cat 1 climb of Limousis, 13.35 kilometers in length, averaging 4.1%, maxing out at 11%, and then a long descent before they'll take in a plateau heading through Aigle and the headquarters of the UCI before starting the finishing climb. The categorized part for the Queen of the Mountains is 10.4 kilometers in length, averaging 6.8%, maxing out at 12%. But as you can see, it is a mighty day ahead of the riders, and you would say the final mountain showdown of this year's Women's World Tour. Thanks to your company, Martin McDonald and Joanna Rouser with you to take you through today's race action. And what a day we had yesterday on the opening day. And it is Sofia Bertizzolo of Italy and UAE ADQ that takes a small 4-second advantage over Karina Schrempf into today's stage, with Misha Bredevold third at 6 seconds. But we expect a big day ahead of us, potentially in terms of time gaps today. Yesterday's opening stage, it was Clara Honsinger of EF Education, Tibco SVB, who was the lone attacker for about 90 kilometers as we came in towards the final climbs. It was all back together. Karina Schrempf attacking and getting caught right on the line by Sofia Bertizzolo, the Phoenix de Koenig rider. Absolute heartbreak for her, elation for Bertizzolo, who took her first World Tour win. Aardegeest took the Queen of the Mountains jersey, and Misha Bredevold starts day 2 in the white jersey as the best young rider. Beautiful mountains that we have here in Switzerland today. Absolute heartbreak yesterday, we would say, for Karina Schrempf, getting caught right on the line.
It certainly was. It was agonising to watch, but it was still a spectacular finish. If you did miss it, I would advise going back and watching the final few kilometres from yesterday, because it was a real thriller. But today, very different stage ahead with these two first category climbs.
Important day yesterday. You can see the jerseys starting on the front. So Sofia Bertizzolo starting today in her first yellow jersey of her career for the Italian. Big moment. And
her first World Tour win yesterday, which was an interesting one, because she's one that's been around a while and sort of always been up there, but interesting looking back at the stats and realising that was a huge, career moment for her. So brilliant to see her delight with that win and her celebration with her teammates. But I still can't get over that finish yesterday, how close it was on the line. But it happens to a lot of people in cycling. It happens to the best of us, so kept us entertained.
Yeah, Karina Schrempf, not the first, won't be the last rider for that to happen to. Anna Shackley and Sylvia Persico on the attack here, as we look like now we're into live pictures. It has been a fairly eventful day, you would say, out on the road so far. Sofia Bertizzolo taking the first sprint of the day in NA, taking 15 points ahead of Maud Rijmakers, and Karina Schrempf taking third there. We went over the top of the Category 1 climb, Limousis, with 88.6 to go. The Cat 1 climb, Jolanda Neff cresting the summit there ahead of Niamh Fisher-Black, Loes Aardegeest, Elise Chabet and Marlon Reusser. That now gives Jolanda Neff the virtual lead in the Queen of the Mountains classification, with 17 points ahead of Loes Aardegeest, who has 14, and Niamh Fisher-Black, who has 13 points in that classification. Sofia Bertizzolo extending her lead on the early sprint in the points classification. 19.8 kilometers to go, but most of that is all uphill. Stage 2 of the Tour de Romandie Feminine, 110.8 kilometers today from Romandie to Tourgon. Anna Shackley on the attack with Sylvia Persico. It looks like Ava Van Aert that has got up there as well. We'll give you confirmation of that group momentarily. This is your chasing group, and you can see it has been whittled down considerably by that Category 1 climb that we've already gone over. Yara Kastelijn, Petra Stiachny in this group. You can see Gaia Realini there wearing 43. Cassia Nuvia-Doma there wearing 31. There's Karina Schrempf, the Austrian champion, wearing 94 in that white jersey with the red and white bands. Ashley Moorman-Passio of AG Insurance Soudal Quick-Step. It's Amber Crack, my apology, that's on the attack here with Sylvia Persico and Anna Shackley. Quite a interesting group that are going clear. Will the SD Works here give the young Scot a chance to ride for this one today? Anna Shackley coming in to the Tour de Romandie off the back of a second place overall on general classification in the recent Tour de l'Avenir. And it's great to see Anna Shackley up here, bronze medalist in the under-23 Worlds, but also had a knee injury earlier on in the season. So it's been one of those sort of up and down kind of years for Anna Shackley.
Well, this is the perfect point in the season if you've had an injury earlier on, having a late race in the season like this. With it being a World Tour race, of course, World Champions already been and gone, early World Champs this year in August. This is your chance to use that end of season form. So we've got 3 riders from 3 of the biggest teams that we've got here trying to get up the road. We've got a sprint in Aigle in this town where the UCI headquarters are, but it should be 16k to go. We've just lost our distance on the screen at the moment, but that's coming up very soon. Then we start our climb, and this can be a useful tactic if you want to have a teammate up the road so you can sort of jump across to them when you're on the climb. Useful as well if you know that you're not one of the best climbers in the peloton. We've got a brutal climb to come to the finish, but it can give you a little bit of a head start to get up the road in a little breakaway like this and have your teammates ride up to you. So a tactic that we do often see used, but like I say, 3 of the big teams represented here.
Anna Shackley takes the sprint ahead of Amber Crack and Sylvia Persico. No bonus seconds on offer at our intermediate sprints. One reason why you would see the riders just rolling through it. 15, 10 and 6 points on offer on that sprint. Still in your group, you can see Fem Van Empel, just hand in your pocket there, where just get the riders just getting rid of some of their rubbish. Yolanda Neff, you can see in that Swiss national team jersey, wearing 161. And there's your breakaway group just ahead. Yolanda Neff, now the virtual leader of the Queen of the Mountains classification. Sylvia Persico and Anna Shackley just grabbing a spot lunch before we start the climb. So Sylvia Persico just grabbing an energy gel ahead of the climb. And Persico, another rider that will be building into the cyclocross season. Will the Italian hasn't potentially, you would say, had the road season that she would have wanted after a phenomenal 2022. Anna Shackley rode so well, was so consistent in the Tour de l'Avenir, taking second on the final stage, third on the fourth stage. She was second in the individual time trial as well. Cecilia Trupp-Ludwig in this group. There's Demi Vollering wearing 11 in that sort of maroon-coloured World Tour leaders jersey. Looking at this climb and tactically, we're seeing Demi Vollering do that kind of big gas effort at the bottom of climbs just to see if she can just shred the group to pieces. Which I know we're kind of sitting here playing armchair director sportif in the team car. Would you look at that sort of tactic from Demi Vollering today?
I think, we know on paper how strong she is. We know that from the Tour de France Femme avec Swift. It's more of a question of what are the other teams going to do, I think. I think we know that if she rides on the front, she will just gradually drop everybody off her wheel. I'm thinking about the likes of the Canyon SRAM team with their huge climbing talent that they've got here, what they're going to do. Of course, Cassia making, I think, more than 10 attacks yesterday in the final 30k of racing, so clearly keen to race aggressively. And we've seen her do that at the Tour de France Femme as well. The other one, Ashley Moorman-Passio at AG Insurance Soudal Quick-Step. She won this race last year. We've only had one edition of this race. There is the World Cyclist tent in Aigle with the velodrome in there as well. 200-metre velodrome for any track cycling fans, slightly different to the normal regulation.
And the beauty of the World Cycling Centre as well is, if people aren't familiar with it, that it is a training centre essentially for riders from all over the world, and you can apply to become part of the World Cycling Centre scene. And it's very much earmarked for riders that might come from countries that the federations might not be able to give them the help and the support and the backup that they need to become a pro. I mean, Tanya Campbell from Trinidad and Tobago been a great example, and I love her stories of coming from Trinidad and Tobago and turning up in Switzerland in the middle of winter in the snow.
A little bit different, yeah. So it's a place where riders from nations that haven't perhaps got the cycling tradition or the infrastructure or the sort of national governing body setup that some of the larger nations have. So riders can go there, train, they've got coaches, they've got world-class facilities, gym, track, and obviously beautiful roads to train on as well. So it's really valuable facility, really sort of valuable setup. I know some of the coaches there. Craig McLean does a lot of the track coaching. Liam Phillips, I believe, does the BMX coaching as well. So different cycling disciplines there, and a lot of fantastic riders have come through that system and been benefited from that on the world stage.
So looking around our group, and Steffi Haberlein here, another one of the Swiss national team. And if you are panicking at this beautiful part of Switzerland, this is your waste zone if you're new to cycling. This is where the riders have to get rid of any gel wrappers or any waste that you might have in your pocket in a specific area, and then our race just sweep all that up and make sure that we leave no mark with that. Our 3 leaders, 40 seconds as we're starting now the lower slopes of the climb up towards the finish. So we swing left here and the climb starts in earnest. 22 corners we've counted on this climb, Joe.
Yeah, it took a couple of counts. I made it 21 the first time, 22 the second time. So there were a couple of debatable hairpins, but at least 22 hairpins, a few more bends in there as well. So absolutely sort of classic alpine style climb. Just seen there, that's the official start. So the Queen of the Mountain points are going to be about 2 kilometres before the actual finish line, but it is essentially uphill all the way to the end now.
Our 3 leaders start our final climb of the day. Anna Shackley, Sylvia Persico and Amber Crack back to the front of the group, and you've got Loretta Hansen on the front for Lidl Trek, with Gaia Realini right on the wheel. And Gaia is just going to be rubbing her hands together with glee at the prospect of this climb.
She absolutely will. She's a fantastic climber. Still such a young rider. She was one of the riders that was part of the Tour de l'Avenir recently as well. But here she is racing with her Lidl Trek team. Quite a small team for them, just 4 riders taking to the start rather than 6, which is the maximum. So 4 is the minimum number of riders you need to start a race like this. They're fit of the minimum team, but she hasn't got the team support around her she might have liked in an ideal world. But we've got such a whittled down group here. Just seeing confirmation there of our first category climb, 10.4 kilometres in length officially. Averaging 6.8, max 12%. But yeah, just as I was saying, Loretta Hansen on the front there for Gaia Realini. Huge opportunity for her. We know how well she climbs. We've seen her riding brilliantly at the Vuelta and the Giro. But here, going to be up against Demi Vollering, Ashley Moolman-Pasio, Cassia Niewiadoma, all the big names out of the climbers in women's cycling, of course, with the recent retirement Annemiek van Vleuten being the notable exception. This is going to be a fantastic showdown here. Demi Vollering is the favourite, but look at Lidl Trek and Canyon Schramm are keen to not let her have it all her own way. We know how strong ST Works have been all season, but these 2 teams are really going to take it to her.
They are indeed. Looking around your group, you've got Anne Santesteban moving up on the right. Amber Crack just getting distanced under the pressure here of Sylvia Persico. So Team Jumbo-Visma lose Amber Crack out of the breakaway group. Persico and Shackley, both great climbers. So the Dutch rider just got a power on here, and you can see the camera really doing the kind of lower slopes of this climb justice here. And for SD Works, good to see Anna Shackley getting that opportunity to just go off and play in the mountains and go in search of a stage win. Antonia Niedermeyer right in the center of your picture here for Canyon SRAM. Marlen Reusser still in there as well for the SD Works team. She is right on the wheel of Demi Vollering.
It's great to see Anna Shackley have this opportunity. So it's a question I often get asked. Why do younger up-and-coming riders join some of the biggest teams in the world with some of the biggest names? And people say to me, are they going to even ever get the opportunity to race for themselves, or are they going to find themselves as domestique? But the answer is you do get those opportunities, and sometimes they arise more often because you've got some of the biggest names in your team, and your job could be to get yourself up the road, and that could lend itself to an opportunity like this. I mean, currently she's got nearly a minute lead over the peloton. I'm sure we're going to see the peloton up in pace and sort of getting themselves up to them, but essentially she's getting a great sort of head start on this climb. One other rider with her, and then there's sort of a two-pronged attack there for SD Works.
And now we're seeing riders turning pro as Anna Shackley did, and we see with the riders like Zoe Backstead and other young riders, Fem van Empel and Shirin van Anrooy, and those riders that have come in at 18. And a team like SD Works, you've got a team, as you've said, you've got the big hitters, you've got the toppers, you've got the best riders in the world. But what someone like Anna Shackley has got is back-up in every way. You've got the experience of Danny Stam and Anna van der Breggen in the team car. You've got everything to look after her as an athlete, nutritionally, physically, emotionally. You know, you can see within SD Works the setup that they've got. You've got Demi Vollering, you've got Marlen Reusser, and you can see the reaction from them at the finish and how they look after their young teammates as well. And then on a day like this, in a race like this, they'll then say, right, who wants to have a go today? And it does look like, as a team, they look for that volume of victories. And you look, you know, this year and how many races that they've won, and you only have to look at the lead they've got in the World Tour team standings to see what a season they have had. I mean, they've got 13,309 points, 0.02 in the World Tour to Lidl Trek's 7,589 points. So in every way now, you can see they bring a rider in, and in the past, you may have if you put a rider in a smaller team, they may be raced too many days a year and not looked after in every way.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's a very long season, and it's a very front-loaded season as well. We've talked about that a little bit yesterday, how busy the early season was and how it's sort of, you know, coming to a close now, give or take the China race is coming up. But yeah, it's a really busy long season, and if you've got that strength and depth in your team and you do get opportunities for the younger riders, I think the key is when you do have young riders joining a World Tour team straight out of the junior ranks, it is really key to think about their development, not push them too hard too soon, but we do know that riders can win at this level at that age. You know, we've seen that in both the men's and the women's side now in recent years, that some riders do make that jump really quickly, some take a little bit more time to develop. Lidl Trek have recently signed some really promising young juniors as well as first-year seniors, which will be starting with them next year. So lots of teams looking out for that younger talent. But at the other end of the spectrum as well, we were talking a little bit yesterday about Claire Steels in her 30s, but been signed by Movistar. So I think that's also really important in cycling, that we don't just focus on like the young talent. There's a lot of older riders that don't necessarily develop at the same rate, and you can sort of really come into your own later on in your career, and that could be an excellent time to sign for a team and be given those opportunities. So we've seen it at the opposite end of the spectrum with Movistar and Claire Steels next season.
Who's going to Movistar? Jelena Erich here, just getting dropped off the back, but riding well into this climb is Jelena Erich. Ahead of her, Eglantine Reyer, the young French rider, another rider that was signed straight out of the junior ranks by DSM Firmenich, who have just announced that they've signed a deal with the GT Crush Rebelles team, DSM Firmenich, to act as their development team now, which is quite interesting. Eglantine Reyer, she's had a good back end of the season, has the young French rider, great climber as well, Eglantine. She's now up to 6th overall in the best young riders standings in the Women's World Tour. Shirin van Anrooy leading that classification with 38 points to Gaia Realini's 32. But Eglantine Reyer has made some really good progress in that classification in the last few races. You got Antonia Niedermeyer on the front, Ashley Mormon-Passio right on the wheel. Your two leaders are Anna Shackley of SD Works, the young British rider, and your Italian, Silvia Persico from the UAE ADQ team, really attacking this final climb. 10.4 kilometers to go to the summit. They're showing them 45 seconds, 50 seconds is the gaps. SD Works and UAE ADQ, and a great place for them to be. For Persico, she's got the likes of Erica Magnaldi, the Italian, her teammate, back in that group behind. And Magnaldi, another rider that could potentially challenge for a victory on a mountaintop finish at the end of today. Magnaldi has been having a great back end of the season, comes into Romandie after finishing second overall in the Tour de l'Ardèche. And that's that famous, iconic stealth race, because it creeps under the radar. They don't have TV coverage of Tour de l'Ardèche, but it is a very famous race taken overall by Marta Cavalli. Did you ride Ardèche?
I did. Yeah, I was going to say, I thought you were going to ask me, did I race Ardèche? I was going to say it was more ride rather than race, because it was so brutal. Yeah, a really sort of tough part of the world to race in. One of those days where you might have 3 categorized climbs on the stage profile, but there's actually 10 plus climbs on the day. It's just up and down all day, so brutal racing. So always a worthy winner of that race, and a good one to keep an eye on, but like you say, no TV coverage, unfortunately.
Yeah, Karina Schrempf, unfortunately, just getting distanced off the back, and we just feel for Karina after yesterday. We're all we're just sending big love out to her.
I think she's probably gained a lot of fans actually by doing that, because being brave enough to go on the attack at that point, it was less than 2.5k to go, just outside 2k to go, getting that gap, so many attacks had gone in, nothing had stuck, and just getting caught on the line, celebrating at the end. She did actually say in her interview that she wasn't celebrating. She was like, oh no, I've lost. Amy, you can read that for yourself if you're interested in the exact quotes there. But yeah, I think she's gained a lot of fans and a lot of sympathy all around.
Yeah, that's the way. I know we touch on it quite a bit during the year, but practice throwing your bike at the line, everyone. That is key. Just launch the bike at the line. Always race through the line. Just that's a key skill that we can all learn as bike riders. If you are just joining our coverage today, welcome aboard. It's Tour de Romandie Féminin is stage 2 today, 110.8 kilometers from Romont to Tourgon. Second of 3 stages is the Tour de Romandie this year, 386.87 kilometers over 3 days. It's the mountain stage today. You have 2 leaders, Silvia Persico and Anna Shackley are your leaders. This is your chasing group being led by Antonia Niedermeyer of Canyon SRAM, Ashley Mormon-Passio of AG Insurance Sudal Quickstep, our defending champion, right behind her. Just on the back of the group here, you've got Steffi Haberlin and Yolanda Neff. Yolanda here wearing 161 in that Swiss national team jersey. She is leading in the Queen of the Mountains classification after taking maximum points over our first climb of the day. It is a small advantage that she has over our second placed rider. So we've got category 1 climb points to come with 2.3 kilometers to go. But Antonia Niedermeyer, yet again, just splintering this group, is the Canyon SRAM rider.
Yeah, she certainly has. And we've got almost races within races here, because as you mentioned, Yolanda Neff currently leading our Queen of the Mountains competition with 17 points. It's 12 points available at the top of this climb, which is actually just over 2k to go to the actual finish line. So for someone like Yolanda Neff, she'll want to try and hang on and pick up some points. Of course, we've got our 2 riders away with 40 seconds lead as well. But Canyon SRAM clearly want to put the hammer down here, rip the race to bits, drop as many people from this group as possible, and hopefully try and take a win with Kasia Niewiadoma, who we know was feeling good with the number of attacks she put in yesterday. I worried a little bit that she was almost putting too many attacks in, because it was attack after attack and nobody was letting her have any daylight whatsoever. They all knew how strong she is.
Yolanda Neff just starting to get distanced off the back, but it is great to see Yolanda Neff here in the Tour de Romandie, her home race, and the Olympic mountain bike champion, legend of the sport. She's had a good season as well, Yolanda Neff. She has had some victories on the road this season as Yolanda Neff. She won 2 stages of points in the GC in the Giro Ponente and Rosa down in Italy earlier on in the season. She's been Swiss national road race champion as well in her career. But the pace just a little bit too hot on this climb. Back to Shackley and Persico. But Antonia Niedermeyer, stage winner in the Giro Donne. Demi Vollering looking cool, looking calm, sat behind defending champion Ashley Moolman-Passio. This is Elena Ivanchenko just on the back of the group. Esme Pepperkamp still in there. So are Kim Kadzo and Fem Van Empel. So Van Empel climbing really well. Love a bit of art on the walls. So Pepperkamp climbing well. Bauerfeind is still in this group. Greta Martirano is still in there as well, as is Yara Castelline. So the Phoenix de Koenig team. 2 good riders in there. Greta Martirano had a great tour of Scandinavia. Did Martirano. She was in that group that came, that group of 4 that came to the top of Norafjell with Annemiek van Vleuten and Cecily Uttrup Ludwig, who's quite stealthy in that group. Look at that shot there of Anna Shackley across the mountains. Absolutely breathtakingly beautiful part of the world that we are in Switzerland. If you've never been to Switzerland to ride your bike, put it on your bucket list of places to come and ride.
Absolutely stunning part of the world. Nice to see there Sylvia Persico getting the Combativity Award for today. Just confirmation of that on the screen. And just for you, the Team UAE ADQ, having had the win yesterday with Bertazzolo, now racing really aggressively. We've still got, I think, a couple of the riders in this group as well. They're going to be full of confidence after yesterday's win, keen to race aggressively today, not just sit back and let it go down the route of the sort of Demi Vollering versus perhaps Cassie Niewiadoma race. They're keen to go on the attack here and make something, and we've seen 40-second gap. That's been holding for a while. Assuming the graphics are correct and up to date, that's not been coming down despite the work on the front of Canyon SRAM.
Yeah, and you can see that group just getting thinned out little by little. Moolman-Passio we see moving up from the helicopter shot across that hairpin. Steffi Haberlin from the Swiss national team just starting to get dropped from the group. Esme Pepperkamp just ahead of her. As we just zoom back up to the group, is Liliana Lippert starting to struggle just a little bit. Antonia Niedermeyer just coming up on the inside there of Liana Lippert. So the pressure just a little bit too much for the Movistar rider perhaps at the moment, which is a bit of a surprise. But Liana Lippert can climb like this. Sometimes if there's lots of sort of bursting attacks on the front, she has to sort of find a rhythm and just get into that rhythm and find her own pace. But I'm surprised to see her getting distance so early into this climb.
Yeah, sometimes you do find that you know that you're going into the red, so you need to back off a little bit and hope that you sort of get yourself back to the race. Sometimes there can be an injection of pace on the front, and that's how you go. Having said that, there hasn't really been this. It has just been really the one rider on the front that haven't been attacked. Sometimes it's the sort of stop-start nature of attacking that can really hurt a rider, and that's why they'll sort of back off but then come back. So perhaps Liana Lippert just not having the best day today, which is okay. That's the first time I've seen that clock change, down to 37 seconds now for our 2 leaders. Of course, 8.1k to go.
And Ricarda Bauernfeind, it is on the front, taking over from teammate Antonia Niedermeyer. And the acceleration from the 23-year-old German rider. He took stage 5 of the Tour de France Femme avec Zwift, if you were with us for that. But it's Bauernfeind, Labus, Vollering, Reusser, Chabet, Niewiadoma, Magnaldi, Realini still in there, Moolman-Passio, Fischer-Black, Uttrup Ludwig. And then we've got one of our Jumbo-Visma riders. We'll get an idea. This is Ivanchenko. That looks like Kim Kadzo just getting dropped by Jumbo-Visma, which would mean that Fem Van Empel is still in the group. This is Paola Patino from Team Movistar, just getting dropped off the back of the group. 30 seconds Bauernfeind has taken this group down to. As we'll just glance around, is that Anne Santesteban that's still on the back of the group, or Erska Ziegart? We've got one of our Jayco Alula riders, so we'll confirm who that is. The motorbike's just showing the blackboard to the riders, but Ricarda Bauernfeind here really putting the hurt on this group. Fem van Empel just reaching up onto her helmet. It is Erska Ziegart that's on the back of the group. Is that Yoda Castelline just getting distance? This is Claire Steels for the Israel Premier Tech Roland team. Oh, Kim Kadzo's got a problem. The chain is off for the New Zealander. They'll let the Vittoria neutral service car just get that back on for her. She'll get back onto the Niedermeyer Lippert Martirano group that have just come past her. Fem van Empel just talking into the radio. The pace just a little bit too hot for Fem van Empel, but has ridden well into this climb. Cecilia Trupp-Ludwig just on the back. Neve Fisher-Black also looks comfortable, does the New Zealander, but Canyon SRAM really on the offensive on this climb. We had Antonia Niedermeyer handing over to Ricarda Bauernfeind. One of the riders of the season this year, Ricarda Bauernfeind. That stage win in the Tour de France was something else.
It really was. I think she probably gained herself a lot of individual fans there, but I think Canyon SRAM are such a popular team that had waited so long for a win until this season, where they've now had a few. So it was a very popular victory, and it's just great to see her development, but also the development of the team and how they're working so well together. So they've got 3 riders in this group. SC Works have also got 3, because there's Marlon Reusser, who's just behind Demi Vollering, plus they've got Anna Shackley up the road. So those are clearly our 2 strongest climbing teams, but there's lots of individuals that are hanging in there. But definitely, you don't want to do the work when you've got that many Canyon SRAM riders and that many SD Works riders. No one else needs to be the one setting the pace. They can bide their time and wait to see if they've got the legs to put an attack in.
The helicopter just pans back from our 2 leaders to the next group. Cecilia Trupp-Ludwig looks like she's now drifting off the back of the pace of this group. Trupp-Ludwig has been on exceptional form since the Tour de France Femme. Your group, Juliette Labouche sat second wheel, looking comfortable. So Bauernfeind, Labouche, Magnaldi, Vollering, Nuvia Doma, Reusser, Fisher-Black, Realini, Chabet, Moolman Passio. So we go back to Ziegart. Oh, it's Anne Santesteban, my apology. So Anne Santesteban and Cecilia Trupp-Ludwig that are just off the back of the group here. Just ahead, Ashley Moolman Passio just on the back of the group for AG Insurance. Sudal Quick Steps. Anne Santesteban, the Spanish rider, off to the Laboral Kucha team next season. So heading home is Ashley Moolman Passio, starting to struggle. The gap is growing from the rider wearing number 1, defending champion, looking around just to see if there's any riders around her. But surprising, Ashley Moolman Passio just getting distanced.
Yeah, our winner from last year, who I had really high hopes for on this climb, but just the pace being set by Canyon SRAM has just been a little bit too much. So rider after rider just gradually getting dropped from this group, and she's still got them in sight. She can still carry out her own pace and hope there might be a lull in pace later on. 14 seconds now for our 2 leaders of the race.
Sylvia Persico has a glance across at Anna Shackley. They'll just have a little word with each other. Sylvia Persico, winner of Brabantse Pijl earlier on in the season. 12th at the Vuelta, 9th in Burgos, 8th on GC in Girardone. Ashley Moolman Passio just grabbing a little bit of a little red ambulance, as we call it, a little can of fizzy stuff for Ashley Moolman Passio. Persico really digging in here, the Italian rider, second to Elisa Longo Borghini in the Italian National Championships this year. But look at the pace being set here by Ricarda Bauernfeind for Canyon SRAM, with Chabet and Nuvia Doma in this group. Canyon SRAM, as Joanna said yesterday, Nuvia Doma, about 10 times she attacked yesterday.
At least, yeah.
At least.
So many attacks. Super impressive. Chabet was also on the attack. We saw her on the attack yesterday, going over one of the Queen of the Mountains. So clearly a team keen to race very aggressively. And they're going to make the contact with the two riders off the front at the moment. Just a handful of seconds now for them. What's interesting for me is how good Anna Shackley is looking. Just looking at her body language on the bike, looking at her sort of facial expressions. I mean, some riders are very good at holding a poker face, but she has been looking really strong.
She has indeed. Shack, as she is known. I always think we need a theme tune whenever we say Shack. But they get caught. A little tap on the shoulder from Sylvia Persico to Anna Shackley. And Persico out of the saddle will just get into this group. And for both those riders, even though they've been on the attack, they've been able to just sit at their own pace. So they're just now trying to latch into this group.
Yeah, they are. So when you've got a very small breakaway like that, you can set your own pace. You haven't got to respond to accelerations of other riders. You haven't got to come round riders getting dropped as well. That can often happen in a group like this, just gradually as riders go out the back. So what's interesting here is who's sat towards the front and who's sat towards the back of the group. So Guy Realini, one of the notable names that is sort of a little bit further down this group out of all the riders we're seeing here. Just seeing Anna Shackley go back a little bit there. Marlon Royster is looking very good though.
She is indeed sat fourth wheel from the front behind that World Tour leaders jersey of Demi Vollering. Elise Chabet just drifting off the back. She's got the red number from yesterday. Our best Swiss rider in the race is Elise Chabet. Can she get herself back in here? It's her teammate Ricarda Bauernfeind that has been the peloton destroyer today, yeah. I think, on this climb. Ricarda Bauernfeind. It was Antonia Niedermeyer early on, but Ricarda Bauernfeind, the young German rider, has just been setting this relentless pace on the front, and will be, I'm sure, she'll be looking to set it up for Cassia Nuviadoma, her teammates. Erica Magnaldi moving up there for UAE ADQ. And if you weren't with us at the top of our program today, UAE ADQ coming into today with the yellow jersey on the shoulders of Sofia Bertizzolo, who got dropped on the category 1 climb of Limousis. So the yellow jersey will change hands at the end of today's stage. But where is it going? You have some of the best climbers in the world in this group.
And 4 of them are for SD Works. So teams of 6 here at the Tour of Romandie. And SD Works have 4 of their 6 riders in this group still. Just seeing Anna Shackley on the back there, of course, our breakaway rider for at least half of this climb. Nee Fischer-Black as well there with number 13 just on the right of this group. And Marlon Royster was up ahead in the red Swiss Champions jersey just behind Demi Vollering, who is our clear favourite. But I think we're really looking to the other teams. What are they going to do? Clearly Canyon Stram with a tactic here of whittling this group down, enabling Cassia Nuviadoma to just sit on the wheel there of Marlon Royce to have a nice sort of, I'm not going to say easy ride, because still got to ride up the mountain, but hasn't got to worry about the pace setting and just follow at the moment with her teammate on the front.
Vollering in those gold glasses right on the wheel of Ricarda Bauernfeind. Cassia Nuviadoma the Canyon SRAM team will have come into today with a plan. Gaia Realini for Lidl Trek. She can just sit back here and let the teams with numbers do the work. Juliette Labousse the same, wearing 51 there in the black and blue of DSM Firmenich. Great climber is the French rider. Ricarda Bauernfeind through these hairpin bends with 4.4 kilometers to go. We head past the church. We do get a bit of a leveling out point on this climb. At points as well, but the attacks now going in, and it's Juliette Labousse that attacks for DSM Firmenich, and right on her wheel is Demi Vollering, Marlon Royster and Cassia Nuviadoma. The work done by Ricarda Bauernfeind, and Nee Fischer-Black is the rider on the front that's trying to pull that one back there. Labousse looks around, looks for some work from Vollering, doesn't get it. But Vollering comes through. This is the little descent. As we said, it just levels off and drops down slightly through this section of the climb before we climb back up towards our Category 1 Queen of the Mountains point. So this is the point. Those riders like Realini here, they've got to be careful. what a monster ride from the Canyon SRAM rider here, Ricarda Bauernfeind, on this climb. Realini just trying to grind her way back on to the group. Vollering's come through to the front, though. She saw that they had a gap, and Persico and Magnaldi for UAE ADQ are the riders that are going to have to close this one back up. They're not going to get any help from the two SD Works riders. Bauernfeind riding back on to Shackley and Fisher Black. It's the World Tour leader. What a season she is having this season, Demi Vollering.
Yeah, for all the work of Canyon SRAM, they've unfortunately not been able to isolate Demi Vollering. She still has a teammate with her, Marlon Reusser, who, you know, what a brilliant, if you're going to pick a domestique, have Marlon Reusser with you. But Demi Vollering setting the pace at the moment, and the two other SD Works riders aren't far behind. But is Cassia about to make a move now? Oh, Marlon's just said, no, I can't hold the wheel. That could be a key moment there.
Could be. Marlon Reusser just swings out of the group, and Cassia Niewiadoma. That's it. That's a good tell there that Niewiadoma pedalled straight onto the wheel there of Demi Vollering. Labousse just taking just a little while because there's a bike length, 2 bike lengths, 3 bike lengths now for Labousse. The head just drops. Is it going to come down to a straight fight on this climb between Cassia Niewiadoma and Demi Vollering, who accelerates through Chabet Corner? I think we're going to call that the Chabet painting on the road. Clearly the fans out, but Reusser just takes the inside line on that hairpin, usually the steepest part of the corner. But just ahead, Niewiadoma and Vollering. Cassia comes through to the front, give Demi Vollering a turn. Down to 2. Vollering and Niewiadoma on the climb. And Demi Vollering, you can see he's breathing. She's working behind Cassia.
Yeah, well, that's interesting, Cassia Niewiadoma's choice to go to the front there and do the work, because it was her teammates that have done the work all the way up this climb. We finally got the isolation of Demi Vollering there. So Cassia could have chosen to sit on the wheel, but she's chosen to come through. So clearly she's feeling good and must be thinking Demi's perhaps not her best. But look who's coming up here now.
Niamh Fisher Black, the New Zealander, is riding up towards the wheels of her teammates. Niamh Fisher Black perhaps has got designs on the Queen of the Mountains jersey. We've got that the Queen of the Mountains points to come on this climb. And so if Niamh can pick up some points, it comes with 2.3 kilometres to go, the Queen of the Mountains point. Could she get some third place points?
Yeah, well, she sits third currently in that classification. Yolanda Neff leads with 17 points. There's 12 points for the first rider over the top of the Queen of the Mountains. And for second place, 8, third place, 6th. So it's a little bit of maths there, see what she could end up with. She'll be on 19 points if she got third place at this Queen of the Mountains. But just seeing her come up behind Marlon Reusser here and Juliette Labousse. And here are our leaders now.
Cassia Niewiadoma on the front. The Queen of the Mountains point comes in 250 metres. I think Cassia's just got to be mindful here of Demi Vollering on the wheel and not just dragging her up the mountain and doing too much work here. Niamh, can she jump past and just get on to Juliette Labousse and Marlon Reusser here and take some points in that Queen of the Mountains classification? Out of the saddle, makes it on to the wheel of her teammate. So it looked like Cassia went through the Queen of the Mountains points on the front. Demi Vollering will take the second placed points. Cassia's been on the front a little bit too long for me at the moment. I think there needs to be a little bit of a flick of the elbow and let Demi Vollering come through and pull.
Yeah, she's clearly feeling very good, and I think sometimes when you feel good, that can be sometimes when you don't race your best tactically because your legs feel that amazing. Here we're just going over the line here for the Queen of the Mountains. There goes the flick of the elbow. Right, I've done my bit now, Demi. What are you going to do?
Cassia Niewiadoma takes the points, and I think Cassia's just got to swing out here. You've got to risk it. You don't want to drag Demi Vollering to the line. Marlon looking around for teammates. So it's Labousse, Reusser and Fisher Black. So Fisher Black takes the 2 points for that one.
Yeah, that will put her on 15 points overall, so won't take the lead over Yolanda Neff. We've got a little bit more maths to do for everybody else, but I don't think she'll... No, I think Yolanda Neff will stay in that jersey for now. Or collect that jersey, of course.
Demi Vollering having a drink. A little flat section here, then the road goes up. 1.7 kilometres to go. 2019 Women's Tour in Great Britain, the last time Kasia Niewiadoma took a solo win. And for me, there's that point here for Kasia, is you've got to risk Labus, Reusser and Fischer-Black almost coming back here, because if she just keeps drilling it on the front, we know how fast Demi Vollering is in a sprint as well.
Yeah, and this is where it takes like bravery in a race to risk it all for the sake of winning versus guaranteeing a second. But look, Marlon on the move there. Demi having a little bit look back, see where her teammate is. Kasia Niewiadoma back on the front for Canyon SRAM, but Marlon Reusser is now trying to close that gap. It's 19 seconds we're seeing between these two groups.
Reusser recovering after that, having to just swing out under the pressure of Demi Vollering. Looks back over the shoulder. Juliette Labus, Niamh Fischer-Black just losing the wheel of the French rider. SD Works strength in numbers here on this climb. So Reusser tries to get across now to Kasia Niewiadoma and Demi Vollering. Niewiadoma has managed to manoeuvre Demi Vollering back through to the front, but comes through, does the Polish rider from Canyon SRAM. 1.4 kilometres to go. And if Marlon Reusser gets on, we would expect her to potentially just try and take a flyer straight over the top. I don't think there'd be a dry eye in the house anywhere in the world if Kasia Niewiadoma managed to take this one.
I feel like she could do with the info to know that Marlon Reusser is coming across. There is the red flag for 1 kilometre to go. Does she know that a teammate is just behind? Has she been able to have a look and see that? Because at the moment she is really putting the hammer down. Demi Vollering is suffering, but she's got a teammate coming up behind very quickly.
They're through the Flamme Rouge. Niewiadoma on the front, but dragging and leading out Demi Vollering at this stage. Marlon Reusser is almost back on. We've got this big sweeping left-hander as Reusser, the Swiss champion, throws it into that corner as Niewiadoma attacks. She's just trying to get clear now of Vollering, but Vollering straight back onto the wheel now of Kasia Niewiadoma. Kasia just leading out, really keeping the pressure on, but Demi Vollering is locked right in on the wheel here. Niewiadoma, as the road kicks up, it's going to be a tall order to just burn Demi Vollering off the wheel. The sprint is starting, but Vollering is poised and ready right on the wheel of Kasia. 300 meters to go now to the line. Niewiadoma on the front for Canyon SRAM. 200 to go. The road kicks up. Where is Vollering going to make a move? Now she starts to come through. Kasia Niewiadoma leading out. It's going to be a win for the World Tour leader and the Team SD Works leader. Demi Vollering comes through to take the victory for SD Works. Takes her 17th win of the season. Kasia Niewiadoma second. Marlon Reusser takes third, and a gap back to Juliette Labus in third spot. Driving to the line for DSM Firmenich. Gets fourth across the line for her. And then behind it will be Niamh Fischer-Black that comes in for fifth place. Another big ride today from SD Works. Canyon SRAM throwing everything that they could at that stage today. Erica Magnaldi leading in. Silvia Persico from the group behind. Persico is going to take the sprint from this group ahead of Persico, ahead of Magnaldi. Bauernfeind just edges out Magnaldi. Shackley with Realini just behind. 61st victory of the year for SD Works.
I'm glad you're keeping count there, Marty. But yeah, it's been a phenomenal season for them. Demi Vollering was the favourite coming into this. Canyon SRAM gave it everything they could. They used up all their teammates on that climb, whipping that group down to a very, very select group at the end. We're just seeing last year's winner, Ashleigh Moolman-Pasio, here coming in on the wheel of Cecilia Uttrup-Ludwig. Just sprinting all the way to the line every last second, try and get that GC position secured.
Elise Chabet, Cecilia Uttrup-Ludwig and Ashleigh Moolman-Pasio. That was a great climb.
That was fantastic. Canyon SRAM really took it to SD Works, but at the end of the day, Demi Vollering was the strongest rider, and to have Marlon Reusser so close behind as well, to have a second rider from your team right up there, just shows what strength they've got, as we've been saying all season long.
Claire Steels is just going to get out-sprinted here by Fem van Empel, Yara Castelline in that group, Liana Lippert, Antonia Niedermeyer and Greta Martirano. As Fem van Empel sprints it out. That's a good climb by Fem van Empel for Jumbo-Visma.
Yeah, very strong climbing there by the young cyclocross rider. Just having a look at our top 10. Anna Shackley came in 9th place at the end there, the young British rider.
What a season by the World Tour leader. Coming through off the wheel of Kasia Niewiadoma, and there's the gap at the finish for the SD Works rider, who started winning way back in March in Strada Bianchi, where she edged out Lotte Kopecky in that one. And we went to the Ardennes. She won Amstel Gold, Flèche Wallonne and Liège-Bastogne-Liège in a week. Down to Spain, did the Spanish block, couple of stage wins in La Vuelta. On to Itzulia, couple of stage wins there. On to Vuelta Burgos, took 2 stage wins and the GC there. National champion in the road race, stage win and GC in the Tour de France Femme avec Zwift. And here we are in September and she's still winning.
Still winning, yeah. And I think at the end there, when she came in to the finish with Kasia Niewiadoma, we know that she's got that jump. We know she can do those sort of punchy efforts. So I think it was always pretty clear that she was going to get the win. I was very interested in Marlon Reusser. Was she going to catch them? And I think that was Kasia's concern.
There was 2 seconds between Demi and Kasia at the finish, but Marlon coming back to 6 seconds, takes the 4 bonus seconds at the line. And some real strong rides today from multiple riders in that leading group. Antonia Niedermeyer and Ricarda Bauernfeind, the 2 young Canyon SRAM riders, did a mighty job on that climb today.
They really did, both riders. I mean, Canyon SRAM have come with a really strong climbing team to this race. Obviously, we know the terrain here in Switzerland is going to favour those sort of riders. But, you know, Kasia Niewiadoma having those 2 teammates whittled that group down perfectly. Just not having the kick here that Demi Vollering has got, unfortunately.
Looking at that climb and coming up here, and I know it's easier said than done, but if in Kasia's position, how could she have played that differently, would you say?
I think I would have forced Demi to do the work. I think when you've got a rider on your wheel who is the World Tour leader and is the Tour de France champion, I think in that situation, you know, she's used her teammates to whittle that group down. She's isolated Demi Vollering. I would have tried to make her do the work. It was as easier said than done. Okay, I'm pretty sure Kasia would have been aware that a teammate was coming up behind in the shape of Marlon Reusser. She wouldn't have wanted her to catch them. And it is difficult when you've got the legs to make someone else do the work on the front. And obviously very easy for us to say in the commentary booth that she's close. She's close to that win, Kasia. We know how strong she is, and we know she's climbing very well. I think she knew she had the legs on this climb, but she didn't have the legs to just ride Demi Vollering off her wheel. It needed to, you know, maybe slow it down a little bit and attack her, and when she was isolated in that situation. But she'll go again. She'll keep fighting, as she always does.
She will indeed. And Demi Vollering in her adopted second home. She lives here in Switzerland, does Demi Vollering. And that helps a little bit as well sometimes, doesn't it? If you're living here as well, if you kind of get that natural feel for the roads as well. Yeah,
familiarity with the roads, but also familiarity with the area, with the food, with everything else that comes with it. You're not in an alien environment. You spend a lot of time travelling as a cyclist, a lot of time living out of a suitcase, and it is nice when you are somewhere a little bit more familiar.
We just saw Mavi Garcia crossing the finish line. Just had a glimpse of her coming home. Damie just making sure that she gets all the energy products, all the you need to get those recovery products into you as soon as possible. It's a great climb up here. There's your top 10. Damie Vollering takes the stage ahead of Kasia Niewiadoma and Marlon Reusser with Labuse, Fisher Black, Persico, Bauernfeind, Magnaldi, Shackley and Realini, your top 10. Anna Shackley still holding on for 9th. Was away with Sylvia Persico at the for a lot of the majority at the bottom of the climb.
I was very impressed with Anna Shackley. They had that attack just as we came on air, pretty much going through Aigler. They went through the sprints, and it was impressive how much of a gap they were able to get, because of course we knew this climb was coming, and they held that for a long time. And then despite being away like that, Anna Shackley was then able to hold on to get a top 10 at the end. Of course, she's still a very young rider as well, so fascinating to see her up there. And obviously a number of SD Works riders up there. 4 riders in the top 10 in the end. I think Marlon Reusser, of course, was 3rd, Niamh Fisher Black 5th, and Anna Shackley 9th.
And that means that Niamh will take over in the white jersey as the best young rider.
Excellent result for her. I was wondering whether she was going for that Queen of the Mountains, but just not quite getting enough points on the line there. About 2k to go before the finish in order to take that jersey.
It was a strong climb from Niamh today as well. Impressed me, especially at the top, the way she closed that gap up to Labuse and Reusser.
Yeah, because she had been gapped, and I think if you're just on the wrong wheel when the gaps really open up, you then got work to do. But she was able to, she sort of had that sort of second wind, and she was able to close the gap to Marlon Reusser and Juliette Labuse really sort of convincingly. Then of course Marlon Reusser then went again, which just shows how strong she is and how well she's climbing. But I mean, overall, we've said it all season. SD Works phenomenally strong. They've come here. They've had 6 riders in their team. 4 of them are in that group. The thinner it got. 2 of them in the top 3. 4 of them in the top 10. Wow, what more can you say?
And we've got 4 Category 3 climbs tomorrow. So the Queen of the Mountains is still very much alive, we would say.
Yeah, so the jersey holder at the end of today will be Yolanda Neff. She's on 17 points. Kasia Niewiadoma on 15 and Niamh Fisher Black on 15. So very tight in that top 3. Less points available on the 3rd category climbs compared to the 1st category climbs today. But I'm expecting an aggressive race tomorrow. I'm expecting a number of riders trying to get that jersey, especially for Kasia. She's in 2nd place in that. She got 2nd place on the stage today. She'd like to come away from this race with something. And of course, Niamh Fisher Black, she'll get that youth jersey, but what about a Queen of the Mountains jersey as well?
And it's still tight, very tight in the general classification in the Tour de Romandie with 1 stage to go. So this race not over by any means after our mountain top finish. And our 2nd edition of the Tour de Romandie, it's delivering. It's a really nice mix, I think, that they've given us in terms of the route.
Yeah, well, today it was a mountain top finish, a 1st category climb. We knew we had those big names that were going to be the ones to look out for at the finish. Yesterday, so aggressive. Of course, as I've said already, go back and watch that last 5k if you did miss it, because it did not disappoint. Ever so close on the line there. And I'm expecting similar tomorrow. Tomorrow is the last chance for a race in Europe, except for the European Championships, which are to come next weekend. But it's the last Women's World Tour race in Europe, a chance for anybody who's not had that win yet this season to try and do something. It's not as mountainous as today. It's a bit more open. Like you say, 3 categorised climbs, but they're all 3rd category, so a little bit not quite as challenging as today. Overall, 1,500 metres of climbing, over 132k. So wide open, I would say, tomorrow.
It is indeed. Let's take you through some highlights. What a day. And it was Sofia Bertizzolo that started in yellow. It was Clara Hunsinger wearing the points jersey. She was 2nd in that going into today. Lois Arageest leading in the Queen of the Mountains classification, and Misha Bredevold leading in the Best Young Riders white jersey. As we started the climb, it was Amber Crack, Sylvia Persico and Anna Shackley that were in the lead. It came down to Persico of ADQ and Shackley of SD Works. The gap just yo-yoing around a minute for a lot of the climb. But for both of those riders, good climbs today here. Amber Crack just getting distanced, and it was Canyon SRAM that were doing the majority of the work on the front. That was the size of the group at this point, with Antonio Niedermeyer leading it. She would hand over to Ricardo Bauernfeind. It came down to a straight fight, Kasia Niewiadoma and Demi Vollering, with Niewiadoma taking maximum points. But in the end, it was the World Tour leader who came through to take the stage victory with the yellow jersey. But the gap is still tight, about 6 seconds going in to stage 3 tomorrow. So the general classification here in the Tour de Romandie still very much alive, you would say. It's SD Works first and third, with Vollering and Reusser up there in the GC. Another day, another yellow jersey for Demi Vollering. Some great shots around the summit here at Tourgon, the ski station, apparently part of the Porte du Soleil, which I think, what's the right word I'm looking for? Revolutionized kind of cross-border skiing, apparently, the Porte du Soleil, that you can go all around. And interestingly, the interesting fact of the day, that this mountain area is home to Switzerland's only wild sheep herd.
That is a fun fact.
There was about 300 to 350 wild sheep, which apparently appeared in the 1970s. I'm not quite sure where they appeared from. Some say France, but they live here and they're wild, and they look good as well. They're very cool sheep. You heard it here first, folks. Our final stage of the Tour de Romandie is tomorrow. And I'll just give you the time for tomorrow's stage, just to make sure that you don't miss out on the stage. So let's hear from Demi Vollering.
What a day. You win here in Torgon and you take the yellow jersey. The perfect day, we can say.
Yeah, it was a really nice day, and yeah, perfect team tactics, because we could really gamble. I was really gambling for Marlon that she could come back, because it would be nice that she could win here also. But she did it, just not make it, and then I could win the sprint from Kasia in the end, and I was really happy to take the win here, yeah.
We saw you this morning before the race. You were very friendly together, and I don't know, maybe the body language, it seems that you wanted to work for Marlon, but she couldn't follow you.
Yeah, exactly, and yeah, that's why I waited. I hoped that she could come back, but yeah, she just didn't make it, and yeah, it would be really nice if she could win here, of course, but still we have 1 day to go, so who knows what's going to happen tomorrow.
And what will go tomorrow? What will happen? I mean, you are now in yellow jersey. You want to keep it. You want to work still for Marlon. What will happen now?
Yeah, that depends a bit. I mean, of course, the goal is to win it as a team. So if I can keep it, it's good, I think. But yeah, it would be also nice if Marlon can win tomorrow, of course. So yeah, let's see how it goes. And yeah, then the most important is that the jersey stays in the team.
How important is for you to win here in Switzerland? You live in Switzerland. You have won this year the Tour de France. You have an amazing victories, a lot of victories. What means today to win here in this region?
Yeah, it's just really nice. I mean, today I could really enjoy the pretty views. It's such a beautiful area, and yeah, I'm a bit far from here. I live in Basel-Land, but I think I will come back here for trainings because it looks so pretty, and yeah, I really enjoy the Swiss road. So yeah, it's really nice that I come in here.
We see you tomorrow morning. Thank you.
Thank you.
Demi Vollering, could they take the stage tomorrow? It's tight in that general classification. We would expect Canyon SRAM to throw the biggest tactics book that you can at this one tomorrow. I think Canyon SRAM will throw everything at this stage tomorrow to try and take the GC from SD Works.
I think they need to. It's interesting how Demi Vollering worded it. Did she say it was a gamble and she was thinking about Marlon coming back? It was interesting that was her wording, because you could say the opposite. You could say she was just profiting from the Canyon SRAM work, but that's how she saw it. And she did say it would have been nice for her teammate to have won. But clearly, the kick she's got at the end here, I think, we knew when they came into those final 200 metres together which way this was going to go.
Yeah, Kasia Niewiadoma doing everything that she could to try and take the stage for Canyon SRAM. It's second today for her victory for Demi Vollering. And then looking to try and deliver the Swiss champion to a stage win. Will that be tomorrow? And our yellow jersey comes home. Sofia Bertizzolo, a big day for the Italian, wearing the yellow jersey here in the Tour de Romandie. Great that we see her crossing the line. And it is such a big day. I mean, this isn't Sofia's stomping ground, the mountains, but it's a special day to be able to wear a leader's jersey, especially in a World Tour race like Romandie.
Leader's jersey, yellow jersey in a World Tour race, always a special moment. Always want to go on the Palmares, get those podium photos out there as well. All part of your sort of summary of your career. When you look back, it's nice to have that jersey hung up in the wardrobe as well, or framed perhaps on the wall. So a special moment for any rider. And now we're getting some of our podium ceremonies.
Your stage winner, she is in her national champions jersey of the Netherlands. She doesn't get to wear her Dutch champs jersey much.
I don't think we've seen her race in it barely ever, have we? Because it's been either World Tour leader's jersey or a race leader's jersey.
I remember seeing her ask if she could have a 50-50 jersey done at some point. There you have it. There's your stage result. Demi Vollering 2 seconds ahead of Kasia Niewiadoma. Marlon Reusser third. Labuse Fischer-Black, Persico, Bauernfeind, Magnaldi, Shackley and Realini your top 10. 1 minute and 8 seconds separating the top 10 on the stage here in Torgom. Stay with us for other presentations. And Sofia Bertizzolo managed to take some points earlier on in the day. She took 15 points in the sprint NA, so she should still be in that points jersey at the end of today. Yeah,
it's looking like she's leading that classification ahead of Demi Vollering, but she's got almost 30 points, 29-point lead over her.
So stage win yesterday and points scored today. She has now crossed the line. And it's another day in another yellow jersey for Demi Vollering for Team SD Works. Getting very used to yellow jerseys in her career is Demi Vollering.
She must have a very full wall of framed yellow jerseys.
And there's your general classification with one stage to go. It is tight at the top, 6 seconds separating the top two. Vollering from Niewiadoma, Reusser at 12, Labuse, Fischer-Black, Persico, Bauernfeind, Shackley, Magnaldi and Realini your top 10. So 1 minute and 18 separating them in the general classification at the end of today's stage with 1 day to go. So you would say in terms of GC, could still go back to Juliette Labuse at 27 seconds, but it is tight. It's not outside the realms of reality, 6 seconds.
It's not. I think with the strength of the SD Works team, they've got the strength to control it. It's more of a case of not just Canyon SRAM, but all the other teams, all the teams that haven't got a win this weekend or this season really want to try and make something. All those riders that haven't got a contract for next season as well. There's going to be a lot of riders thinking, this is it. This is my last chance. We've got some third category climbs, no mountain top finish. It's a far more open stage tomorrow. A lot of riders will be eyeing it up and thinking, today was the big GC day. We've let them sort themselves out on that mountain. Now I want to try and get a win myself. And because it was so close on the line yesterday for Carina Schwenk on the line with that breakaway, anything can happen.
Jolanda Neff, you can hear the crowd. The Swiss cycling legend, I think we can call Jolanda Neff, takes over in the lead in the Queen of the Mountains classification with 1 stage to go. So expect Yolanda to challenge for that one. It would be a good prize for Yolanda Neff to take, but it is tight between her, Nuvia Doma, Fisher Black, Ada Geest up there as well with 14 points. So still all to play for tomorrow.
Yeah, very much all to play for. We'll double check what points are available for the third category climbs. Of course, it was 12 today for the win on the first category. A little bit less tomorrow for the third category, but there are I said there was 3. I think there's actually 4 of them tomorrow. So plenty of opportunities to go for points tomorrow.
So 5, 3, 2 and 1 points on offer on our category 3 climbs. So still plenty of points available.
20 points if you won all 4 of them, isn't there? So could be all change. Could be someone new entirely for a very long breakaway.
Our new white jersey leader, the best young riders classification. It's New Zealand's Niamh Fisher Black of Team SD Works that takes over in the white jersey. With one stage to go. It's 39 seconds between her and Ricarda Bauernfeind. Teammate Anna Shackley, third in the best young riders classification, still at 39 seconds. Realini, Van Empel, Niedermeyer, Ivanchenko, Kadzo, Rea and Stiashny. Your top 10 in the best young riders classification. So our Combativity Award.
Et je vous demande de lui faire une ovation. Il s'agit de Silvia Persico.
Silvia Persico is your Combativity winner, your most aggressive rider. Well deserved,
yeah,
you would say.
Yeah, we saw her in the breakaway with Anna Shackley for a large portion of that climb. Always a nice chance to go on the podium, get a prize. I think it was the rucksack there. Nice to have.
Yeah, we love our prizes in the Combativity Award here, and I'm sure they're just giving Sofia Bertazzolo a chance to recover from that climb. We're going to move on to the best Swiss rider in the race. A good day for the Swiss today.
Very good day for the Swiss. Marlon Royce at Elise Chabbey in that group for a long time. Yolanda Neff's taken the Queen of the Mountains jersey, but I believe it is Marlon Royce who, there you go, our top Swiss rider overall.
The popular Swiss rider on to the podium as best Swiss rider in the race. Always an important prize in your home country is to be the best rider from your home nation.
Yeah, a little bit of bragging rights, but also nice for the fans as well to see someone from the home nation on the podium.
And national champion as well. It's good to see the national champions jersey on the podium.
Very similar to the national kit of the Swiss cycling team as well, just to keep us on our toes as commentators.
They have white arms, the Swiss national team, don't they? There's your classification. So Marlon Royce, Elise Chabbey, Steffi Haberland, Yolanda Neff and Petra Stiashny, your top 5 in the Swiss riders classification. They're just rolling it back now to our points classification from the look of it. Started the day in the yellow jersey. It's a good prize to target tomorrow for Sofia Bertazzolo to take this one for UAE ADQ. Stage winner yesterday, yellow jersey wearer today, still in the points jersey, having a good tour.
She certainly is, yeah, and there's 2 more sprints tomorrow during tomorrow's stage. But she's got 29 points lead over Demi Vollering, so she's looking very good. She picked up some more points today in one of the intermediate sprints. So what a way to finish the tour for her. She's able to come away with a stage win and a jersey by the end.
And there's your classification. Sofia Bertizzolo at the top of the standings with 65 points. Demi Vollering second with 56. And then you go back to 36 for Karina Schrempf. 15 points on offer at those intermediates. But Sofia Bertizzolo also sprinting very well after that stage 1 victory yesterday in that one. Some beautiful shots around the mountains here in Switzerland up to Torgon. What a day. A great stage. Hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. Join us for the third and final stage tomorrow. From Martin McDonald and Joanna Razzle. We'll see you soon. Bye.